What's happening, everybody? I am Michael Mrucz, and today we are going to be counting down through my top 10 favorite racing video games of all time. I want all of you to play along as I'm going along. Write your top 10 lists, or if you don't have that many, maybe top 5 lists in the comments. Let me know if there are games that you think I should play, that you think I would enjoy. I jotted my list down. There's no criteria for making this list. It's just the stuff that I have enjoyed playing over the years. So let's get into it. Let's go! Coming in at number 10 on my list is GT Sport. I don't play this a ton on my channel. I don't make a ton of videos. I probably should make more. I think it is the best racing simulator game that there is. Project Cars 2, Forza, they both have some things that don't make me totally thrilled. GT Sport really doesn't have that, and I wish that they had a stock car in the game. That's really the only thing that I feel is missing. Really good tracks to choose from. Paint schemes that you can make online. Those are really good too. And the AI, I think, is really, really good in this game. Forza, the AI just decides to brake check you at random moments. Project Cars 2, the AI is just kind of insane. They're all deranged drunkards that just got out of the county jail that got behind the wheel of a race car and starts running into shit. That's what Project Cars 2 is, if you can actually steer the car. GT Sport, great tracks, great car selection, except for NASCAR stock cars, and the paint schemes. 9th on my list is Dirt 4. I've played this also a few times on the channel. It's much like GT Sport. It's very realistic. I loved racing against the AI in this game. They seem to be some of the most aggressive AI in any of the video games I've ever played. That's one thing that I really enjoyed about it. And the tracks too were always really cool. I think I didn't put it any higher because there aren't a ton of tracks to choose from. It's very limited. And also I remember trying to race online was a son of a bitch. It took absolutely forever to get into a lobby. That pissed me off. But just driving on my own, I really, really loved it, and that's why I thought to put it on my list. Number 8 is kind of a sentimental nostalgia pick. It's Jarrett and Labonte stock car racing. This is the game I think that got me into racing 20-something years ago. I know it came out in the 90s. I'm not exactly positive as to what year. It had such a long career mode, and it was not easy. The cars handled straight shit. It was not easy to drive those cars, and that's why the career mode was so freaking long. You have Ned Jarrett commentating the whole thing. It's with Jason Jarrett and Justin Labonte. The two of them never really had NASCAR careers, but they got their own video game. It was on the original PlayStation. If you haven't played it before, you should check it out. It is still fun. Number 7, I had to go with Wreckfest. I play this a ton on my channel right now. They finally came out on console with PS4 and Xbox a couple of months ago. That hasn't really made me that enthusiastic about it. It hasn't really made me that much more into the game, because on PS4 and Xbox you can't do the mods, and that's what I think really put this game on my list, is all the mods that have been created, all the different tracks that have been created, the NASCAR mod, all that extra stuff added to how crazy the physics can be, how your car can just be launched into outer fucking space. All that stuff makes it a ton of fun, and I really love playing it. The AI sucks though. There's really no competition, at least in my eyes. I don't know, maybe I'm that freaking skilled. Bam! On the hater! The AI just never has done it for me. It's never made me that excited. Now, number 6 came out not that long ago. It is F1 2019. You might be like, what the fuck, Michael? Why are you putting F1 2019 on this list after the videos you've made recently where you've been raging the fuck out and it's been pissing you off? I think that's what I was playing when I broke my door. I put it on the list because of the career mode. The career mode is fucking fantastic. The only thing I could say negatively about the career mode is that I wish drivers retired and new drivers would come in. F1 2019's career mode, though, is probably the most in-depth career mode in a racing game in what, I don't know, 15 years? I might be pushing 10, 15 years, something like that. You get to start, you can pick wherever you want to go. That I don't really like. I wish they would just start you off with a low class team. Either way, you get to pick your team, and then as the season goes, drivers get on hot streaks, they cool down. By the end of the season, upgrades that you have put into the car are no good anymore. One thing they do have, though, they don't have the retiring drivers, but they have drivers swapping seats, and that is freaking awesome. That is something that's also been missing for a really long time that I love. After the season ends, before the next one begins, I have to go through my emails on that laptop in the game and see what drivers went where. It just is so interesting to me. Adds like that extra layer to the experience. I really, really love that. Number 5, I have Flat Out 2. This is also like a nostalgia pick, I guess. I still think this game stacks up really, really well to what's coming out now, like with Wreckfest and stuff like that. I loved Flat Out 2. 1 had an amazing soundtrack. You cannot downplay how much a soundtrack means to a video game. If it freaking sucks, you have to mute it, and then you're just sitting there in silence playing a video game. The soundtrack adds so much to it, and Flat Out 2 had a great one. Flat Out 2 also had probably some of the best wrecks ever in video games. When you would drive into something like head-on, the driver would fly through the freaking windshield. Best demolition derbies that have ever been in video games. Better than Wreckfest. Really, if you haven't played this, you should try it. I had it on original Xbox, so it's probably in the PlayStation 2 original Xbox timeline. Number 4, I have Dirt to Daytona. I ranked it that high because I loved being able to start at the bottom and work your way up. I am not positive, but I feel like this is the first game where you were able to start down at the lower series and work your way up to Cup. I don't know of another game where you were able to do that before. I loved being able to build your race team too. Like, you weren't just driving for someone else. You were running your own race team. You had to save up enough money, and you had to pick the upgrades that you wanted, what seemed most important. The graphics are straight shit. I mean, I'll be honest with you, but this is like original PlayStation 2 early days that we're talking about here. So we can't be all that picky. The competition, I think, was pretty stiff. You couldn't just drive away from anybody. I mean, maybe when you had the car completely upgraded. Before that, throughout that whole time, you were in competition with the rest of the drivers. You were beating and banging on each other, and it was not easy to make your way into that next round. It's also a great game because Alan Bestwick makes a ton of cameos. For the 3rd spot, I have NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup. It's pretty much an updated version of Dirt to Daytona. It's the first EA attempt at doing the whole thing, all the 4 different series, except they didn't start at Dirt, they had the Wheel and Modified series. Again, you had to start at the bottom with the Wheel and Tour and work your way up. You didn't need to win the championship, though, to move on. You started getting like truck series offers where you did test sessions in the truck series, and if you did well enough, then they'd sign you and bring you in next season. You didn't have to win the championship to move on. And that was really cool. It seemed like much more realistic, I guess. What you were able to do, though, was start your own race team once you had enough money in any of the 4 series. And that was like super in-depth because you could set the prices for your merchandise. You could hire drivers. It freaking boggles my mind how EA just kept going downwards after this. After that, this was like, in my eyes, the last great game that EA made. I know I'm gonna get a ton of shit for that, but NASCAR 06 was the best ever. I fucking hated NASCAR 06. We are down to the final 2 spots, everybody! And in second, I have placed Burnout 3 Takedown. Now, I had played the other Burnout games before this, and I had always really enjoyed them, but Burnout 3 Takedown was just a whole new stratosphere. I mean, this game was freaking awesome. You would run races, you would run crash events. The crash events was you pretty much just driving into a whole ton of traffic and trying to cause the most damage that you possibly could. You just drove it into like a busy intersection and should be blowing up, just going on fire. It was insane. Driving through oil tankers, those were my favorites. Then there were the takedown events, and I think that was probably the best part of the whole game. The takedown events were, you were racing against like 3 other people, and you would have to be slamming the shit out of them, putting them in the wall, just driving through like country roads where other cars, other like pedestrian cars, I don't know what the fuck you want to call civilians, they're driving around, and you had to avoid them, all while you're trying to take out these other 3 guys. I wish that games like this would exist. Like, they would come back and there would be game modes like this again. But it seemed like the early 2000s was like an embarrassment of riches for us, for racing game fans. There was just so much to choose from. GT Sport at 10, Dirt 4 at 9, Jarrett and Labonte Stock Car Racing at 8, Wreckfest at 7, F1 2019 at 6, Flat Out 2 at 5, Dirt to Daytona at 4, NASCAR 2005 at 3, Burnout 3, Takedown at 2, and now at number 1, I have got to give it to NASCAR Thunder 2003. That game, how rude. That game, it is what started, okay, so Jarrett and Labonte Stock Car Racing started my love for racing. NASCAR Thunder 2003 started my love for NASCAR. That's where it all began. That game, I can't even begin to tell you how many races I ran over the years. What made that, I mean, there are a few things that made that. One, the lightning challenges were fantastic. I also love the soundtrack, and like we were saying before, how much the soundtrack adds to a video game. That soundtrack, I still, when I hear the songs, like on the radio or something, the songs that were in that game, that's immediately where my mind goes. Oh, that's NASCAR Thunder 2003. God, I fucking love that game. The number one thing that set this game aside from all the rest of them is the career mode. The career mode, that is the single greatest career mode in all of racing video games that I have ever played. You would then hire every single pit crew member and your crew chief, and they all had different skill sets, and they would learn as you would go along. And you could also like fire them if it just wasn't working out. The statistics part of career mode, oh my God, this goes back to what I was saying about F1 2019, how I like watching where all the drivers go in the off season, how they swap teams. Every driver through the career, it was kept track of the races they ran, the poles that they had, the race wins, the top 5s, top 10s, laps led, average finish, points finish, everything was covered. I want that back in the absolute worst way. And on top of that, at the end of every season in that game, drivers would retire, and Busch Series drivers, that's hard for me to say when I got a lisp, Busch Series drivers would come up and replace them. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm a weird motherfucker. And I would save right before the new season would start, and I would hit like new season over and over until drivers that I liked were in the cars that I wanted them to be in. I had a lot of free time back then. That career mode alone gets NASCAR Thunder 2003 the top spot. And I'm really curious as to what you guys think of the list. If there's games, like I said in the beginning, that I should play, that I should try out, let me know in the comments. Write your top 10 favorite racing games of all time. Write your list down in the comments. And if you don't have 10, just top 5. I'm interested to see some of the other ones that maybe I didn't think of, that maybe I've played before. Just throw them down in the comments. But I hope you enjoy this video. I know it's a little bit different. It's not a gameplay. I'll be back to playing video games tomorrow, but just thought I'd shake it up. But I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all so very much for watching. I love every single last one of you. And My voice is kind of fucked up now. I got a little bit too hype over NASCAR Thunder 2003. I might have to go and play it after this. All right, I'm done. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Goodbye!